Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I wanted to give you some quick tips on how you can help your body reduce its heavy metal load. This is something that we might not think a lot about until we actually go have a test that tells us what our heavy metals and how they're accumulating in our body. And a lot of us don't even really think about this. So this is something that you should put at the forefront because I know a lot of people who eat a clean diet, they exercise every day, they drink lots of water, they get good sleep, they spend time in nature, and then there's something going on in them that maybe has brain fog or fatigue or just something that just makes you feel less than optimally healthy. And one of those things might be a heavy metal load in your body. And there's things in our environment and in our food that and in our water that can actually put heavy metal loads into our body and into our system. Now, metals love the fat in our body. So when we have extra fat around our middle, anywhere on our body, that's why heavy metals love to store in the fatty tissue of your brain. And we all know that if you have a heavy metal load, like mercury and aluminum and just these loads of metal, that it can eventually lead to things like dementia and Alzheimer's. And that's a really good reason to really stay on top of the idea of helping your body release heavy metals. Now, one of the very first things that you need to be aware of is that you need to have a clean alkaline diet. Make sure that you have lots of veggies and fruits, and a simple squeeze of a lemon in a glass of water every day is going to help keep your body in alkaline balance. In fact, I like to keep fresh squeezed lemon in the water I drink all throughout the day. Now, I'm not successful at it every single time, but it is something that's kind of a habit and in the forefront of my mind because I know how powerful just that one little habit is. Now, there are some foods that you can eat that will help your body. It'll bind to the heavy metals and it will release it through the digestion process. So some of these things are cilantro, garlic, wild blueberries, lemon water, barley grass juice, and a lot of people like to have this in a powder, and it's just as effective. So if it's really easy for you to get barley grass juice, which it is, and in powder form, you can mix it in with a glass of water, you can throw it into a smoothie, super, super easy. And where we are right now, we're in the middle of April of 2022, where we're getting ready to go into warmer weather for a lot of people around the world, where it's easier to actually have a meal that's a smoothie. I know this is something I love to do in the summer. During the warmer months, it's a little bit tougher in the winter, but it's really awesome and easy. So if you have some barley grass juice, and even in powdered form, which is a super easy way to get it, because you don't really have to do anything to actually get it except for purchase it. Throw a scoop of that, a teaspoon, a tablespoon, into your smoothie and add a pop of nutrition as well as heavy metal chelation. Help your body remove those heavy metals. And then things like Atlantic dulse. So that is a sea. That's partly from the sea. Now, one thing I really love as far as supplements, two main things, spirulina and chlorella. Now, these are really well known as superfoods, and they have a ton of things in them, like vitamins. They have protein, they're high in protein. And a lot of people are aware of these because of how they help your body bind heavy metals and release through your digestion process, which is really, really amazing. And it's super, super easy. In fact, one of the reasons I really wanted to get on this and share this with you is because I've had a few family members and close friends who have needed to do some detoxing from just some of the things that have been going on this past year and some of the treatments, shall we say, that they have gotten. And there needs to be some type of detoxing from simply the toxic substances that we put in our body, regardless of what that might be. So this could even be the water you drink, because sometimes water can have heavy metal loads. And unless you have a filtered water system or you drink only filtered water, then you're probably getting some heavy metals in the water that you drink. So I would really highly suggest that if you're having some brain fog, you're having some fatigue, those two things mainly, take a look at doing some spirulina and some broken cell wall chlorella. And you can actually get some results pretty quickly. You can feel better really quickly. At least a lot of what I noticed, brain fog and fatigue for the people in my family and the people in my life that have kind of come to me and said, hey, I just can't seem to feel better no matter what I do, and when I say, well, let's do some heavy metal detox, and we get them even just on one of them. And I would say if you're going to pick a spirulina or a chlorella, go for the chlorella. And it's broken cell wall chlorella. We actually have this in a product and we call it detoxifier. And on purpose, we call it detoxifier. Now, another couple things that you can do is saunas. Now, if you have access to an infrared sauna, this is a beautiful way to detox from heavy metals. And because it does store in your fat cells, if you can get into an infrared sauna, which the infrared goes deeper, it goes deeper through the layers of your skin, and it can help your body release those heavy metals through your sweat. Now, a couple of cool tips. If you were to get into a sauna, you had access, get some niacin, and 20 or 30 minutes before you get into the sauna, take some niacin, and it'll produce what's called a niacin flush, and then get into the sauna. And then when you get out of the sauna, drink some zeolite. Now, zeolite, many of you are familiar with this. If you're unfamiliar with either niacin or zeolite, do a little research on what these do for the body and how they help the body release heavy metals. And these to me are really simple things that you can do to help yourself feel better very, very quickly. So if there's anything that you think that I've left out of this, and I'm sure there are maybe some things that you know of and that you do to help your body release from heavy metals, let me know in the comments what it is that you like and what you do, because I certainly know what's worked for me, and I know what's worked for the people in my life, my family members in particular, and I know what's worked for them, but I am not an expert in this field. I feel like I do have a certain amount of knowledge, but I know there might be some other things out there that people have done, that they've researched, and you might be a deeper research in the way the body releases heavy metals more than I am. So I would just say I do this because I know how it's made a difference in my health. And I always say, to me, it's about prevention rather than waiting until you get something or you get to a really hard point in your life where you just simply can't function to wait until you go after the issue. So it's always easier to prevent than to try and cure. So let me know if you have any comments or questions. Give this video a thumbs up if you feel so inclined, and we will talk to you soon.